clock is ticking, and November 8th is on the minds of millions of Americans who want to find out who becomes the 45th American president. Just like me, there are several international journalists who are monitoring and covering this election. The world really wants to find out who emerges the winner in this race. This is perhaps one of the most controversial American elections. But again, in Nigeria, we have the Independent National Electoral Commission that coordinates election. In the U.S., the system seems to slightly be different from here. There is a federal election body, but again, local authorities here are much more involved in the coordination of elections. So I was curious to find out how the election process go, the basics of the process. And so I visited Brown County in Green Bay, in the state of Wisconsin, one of the local authorities here. This sort of local government, the tier of government is usually directly responsible for coordinating elections of this nature. I met Sandy, who is a Brown County clerk. My business here is to find out how the voting process goes. First, I asked her who is eligible to vote in an American election and where does our would-be voter begin from.
On our voter registration form, there are two questions that are really important. One is it'll ask you if you are a U.S. citizen, yes, no. It's up to you to disclose whether you are or not. The other one is, are you 18 years of age or older?
And after registration, on the day the voter wants to vote, he or she will need to appear with identification.
If you're registered, then the next step would be when you go to the polling place, you're going to present your photo identification to the poll worker. You're going to state your name and address. They're going to look at your photo identification and see that the name on there matches what's on the polling book. And then they're going to look at you to see if the image they're looking at, the photo identification, is indeed you. Once that's been verified, they will assign a number to your name on the polling book, and they will hand you a ballot. From there, you'll go to a private area, you'll cast your ballot. Once that's done, you'll insert it into the tabulator.
Here is a demo ballot paper and a voting machine to cast a ballot. Meet Justin Schmidt. He works with Sandy here and is largely in charge of setting up the machines and the process. He puts us through the process.
Actually has a ballot. What they would do is they're going to come in, they are going to cast their ballot, and we'll just fill in some circles here. And they're going to come to the machine and they're going to see this screen. It's going to tell them, please insert your ballot. It's going to show them exactly where they can send it on the screen. It's going to go right in between here. You just send it in. It's going to just tell you that it's processing. And it's going to say, thank you, voting. The next person would come in, you can do the same thing over and over again until everybody at the polling place has actually cast their ballot.
Sandy and Justin tells me the voting machine server are very secured, but one thing I was worried about is multiple voting or over-voting.
Voters have to be very vigilant in making sure that voters aren't voting more than once.
Okay.
And we do have a statewide voter registration system that even if they don't catch it prior to the election, once we're entering that information into the statewide voter registration system, if we have an elector whose name comes up twice trying to vote, that will cue us in that there's a problem with somebody tried to beat the system in that regard.